The vial on the table, the space outpost floated quietly above a dead planet, surrounded by stars. Inside, everything was calm, except in the medical room, where something very important had been left behind. Lyra, a young alien woman with soft, green skin and silver eyes, walked through the hallway holding a damaged scanner. She worked with the human crew for over 2 months now. Her job was to repair broken tools and assist the medical team when needed. She liked the humans. They were loud, strange, but kind. Today, the medical officer had rushed off to handle an emergency near the reactor core. In the rush, he forgot to clean up the table. Lyra entered the room, looking for more repair requests, when her eyes stopped on a small glass vial sitting on the edge of the counter. It had a faint blue glow dot. She picked it up. The label was worn off. No symbol, no warning, just a small metal band around the neck. It looked like a common nutrient shot. She had taken something like it before, small injections to keep the body strong in low-gravity zones. Lyra's shoulders were sore, and her head was pounding from a long shift. "I guess it won't hurt," she whispered. She pressed the vial into the injector and pushed it into her upper arm. The liquid was cold and then hot. It spread fast. Within seconds, her heart rate increased. Her breath came faster. She stumbled back a step, her hand grabbing the edge of the table. Her vision became sharper. Every light seemed brighter. Every sound became louder. What ... was that? She asked aloud. She touched her skin. It tingled. She looked around the room, as if the walls had moved closer. Her mind raced. It didn't feel like a nutrient shot. And then she felt something else, a pull. Someone was walking down the hallway. She didn't need to see who. She already knew. It was Reed, the human engineer. Tall, calm, quiet. He always smiled when she passed. He helped her fix a cooling pipe last week and complimented her work. Just thinking about him now made her chest feel hot. Reed stepped into the medbay doorway. "Hey, Lyra, you okay?" She blinked quickly. His voice. It was so clear now, so deep, so ... close. Yes, she said too quickly. "Just finishing inventory." Reed smiled gently. "All right. Let me know if you need help." He turned and walked away. Her legs felt weak. Something was very, very wrong. Later that night, Lyra sat in her small sleeping pod, wrapped in a thin thermal blanket. She stared at her hand. It was shaking. She pulled out her scanner and searched the human database. She typed, "blue glowing serum vial." No label. Dozens of results came up. Most were standard meds. But one file caught her eye. Project Apex-7. She tapped it. Warning, unapproved human use only. **Apex-7 is a field-grade combat enhancer designed for elite soldiers. Boosts speed, awareness, pain tolerance, and bonding instincts for team synchronization under threat. Not safe for non-human species. Unknown effects expected." Her mouth went dry. She stared at the file, then at her own hand. Her pulse was racing again. Her body felt ... alive. Too alive. Bonding instincts. Was that why her thoughts kept drifting back to Reed? She pressed her hand to her chest. Her heartbeat was strong, wild. She hadn't felt this before. Not like this. Not toward anyone. Lyra curled up tighter, scared and confused. "What have I done?" She whispered. In the medbay, the blue vial. Slot sat empty. On the nearby tray was a paper tag, slightly folded beneath another syringe. It read clearly, "Warning, do not administer human combat stimulant only." But it was too late now. The serum had already awakened something inside. Her something she couldn't turn off. The change begins. Lyra woke up the next morning drenched in sweat. Her skin felt hot, even though the pod's temperature was normal. She sat up slowly, pressing her hand to her chest. The effects of the serum hadn't gone away. She dressed quickly and stepped into the hallway. Lights were too bright again. Sounds echoed too much. She could hear footsteps far down the corridor, the slow hum of distant machines, even the soft breathing of the crew in nearby rooms. Everything was sharper. Too sharp, but the strangest part was still Reed. As soon as he entered the main control bay that morning, she felt him. Not just heard or saw felt. It was like her body reacted before her mind even realized he was there. He walked past her, carrying a heavy panel, and her heart skipped. She turned away, pretending to check her tablet, but her hand was shaking again. Reed smiled like always. "Morning, Lyra." She tried to return it. "Good morning." But inside, she was spinning. Why did his voice feel like music? Why did his scent, sweat, grease, human skin make her body feel warmer? She left the room before he noticed her. Panic. Back in her quarters, Lyra scanned her body again. Her muscles were showing signs of growth. Her neural readings were elevated. She was now running 20% faster, 40% more alert, and her heartbeat quickened every time Reed came close. This wasn't just attraction. It was something deeper, something designed. Bonding instinct, the file had said. But that was for humans to sync with teammates in battle. Why was it affecting her like this? Her species didn't even experience bonding the same way. Not emotionally, not physically. Yet here she was aching, distracted, and confused over one human. And it kept getting worse. Later, during a simple repair mission in the cargo bay, Reed called her over. "Hey, I can't get this bolt unstuck. Can you try?" Lyra walked over, every step feeling like it echoed through her bones. She knelt beside him, trying not to look directly at his face. But when he handed her the wrench, their fingers touched, only for a second. But it was enough. Her whole body trembled. Her skin felt electric. A sharp breath escaped her lips before she could stop it. Reed noticed. "You all right?" I just need water," she mumbled, standing quickly and walking away fast. That night, she couldn't rest. She lay in her bunk, staring at the ceiling, her body too tense. Her thoughts stuck on that brief touch. This was wrong. She couldn't work like this. Couldn't think. But she also couldn't tell anyone. What would the humans say? That she broke into their medicine? That she used a restricted serum? Would they think she did it on purpose? Would Reed think she was trying to bond? With him? No, she couldn't let that happen. In desperation, she returned to the med bay. She searched for something, anything to undo the effects. But there was no antidote, just warnings. She stared at the screen, eyes burning with fear. Side effects. On non-humans, increased sensory input, heightened emotional focus, target-based attraction, potential emotional imprinting on nearest team member. Her breath caught imprinting. Was she imprinting on Reed? Was this chemical? Was this real? Or was she falling into something that didn't belong to her at all? Suddenly, the medbay door opened. Reed stepped in. "Lyra, you okay?" She jumped back from the screen, panicked. I was just checking the files." She lied. He walked closer, looking concerned. "You've been off today. You look pale. You're not sick, are you?" Lyra tried to speak, but her voice cracked. "I think I made a mistake." Reed tilted his head. What kind of mistake? Before she could answer, the station's alarm blared. Red lights flashed. Core. "Reactor overheat, all techs report to level 2. Reed cursed softly. "We'll talk later. Let's go." He turned to run, but Lyra didn't move. She stood frozen, watching his back. Her instincts screamed. Follow him. Protect him. Don't let anything happen. Not because of duty, because of something much deeper, something awakened inside her. Asterisk. Confusion and heat. The station's alarms finally stopped after 2 long hours. The core had cooled, the danger was gone, and the crew returned to their normal routines. But inside Lyra, the real storm had just begun. She sat in the dark corner of the supply room, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her body wouldn't calm down. Her skin still felt warm. Her thoughts were spinning, and all of them led back to Reed. She had fought beside him during the core crisis, fast, sharp, focused like never before. Every second, her eyes had searched for him. Every move he made, she followed without thinking. When he almost slipped on the metal floor, she caught him not like a worker would, but like a guard, a protector. That wasn't normal, and it wasn't her. She buried her face in her hands. What is happening to me? Later that evening, Reed found her working alone in the diagnostics lab. Lyra, you sure you're okay? He asked, leaning on the doorway. She didn't answer. He stepped closer. You were amazing today. You fixed that override system faster than our best techs. She finally looked at him. Her voice was quiet. It wasn't me. It was the serum. Reed frowned. What serum? Silence. Lyra turned away. She couldn't say it. Couldn't admit she took something she didn't understand. But Reed wasn't. Stupid. He stepped closer. Lyra ... What did you inject? She clenched her jaw, guilt flashing in her eyes. I thought it was just nutrients. I swear. Reed looked concerned, not angry. What was it really? A combat serum, she whispered. Human ... experimental, not meant for aliens. Reed took a slow breath, then sat beside her on the bench. You're feeling changes, aren't you? She nodded slowly. I can't stop thinking about you, she said, finally breaking. Not in a normal way. My heart races when you're near. I feel your presence before you speak. When I touched you during the emergency, I nearly collapsed. I don't understand it. I'm not like this. Reed stayed quiet. Lyra looked down. Is this fake? Is this chemical? Or is it me losing control? The silence between them was long. Then Reed spoke. That serum was made for elite bonding. It heightens instincts, especially towards someone seen as a safe partner during battle. Soldiers use it to form fast trust with each other. He looked at her carefully. It's not just about chemistry, Lyra. The serum doesn't choose randomly. It latches on to what was already there. Her breath caught. Already there? She looked at him, eyes wide. I don't know if this is real, she said, but it feels real, and that scares me. That night, things got worse. The station lost auxiliary power due to a micrometeor impact. The lights went dim. Gravity pulsed for a second before stabilizing. Lyra was in the hallway when it happened. She stumbled into the wall, caught her balance, and then Reed appeared at the end of the corridor, flashlight in hand. Come with me, he said. I don't like this power dip. They walked together in silence, the hallway barely lit. Then it happened. A power relay exploded behind them, knocking out the floor lights and sending heat rushing down the corridor. Lyra reacted instantly, throwing Reed to the side and shielding him with her own body. The wall shook. Sparks flew, and in that heat and chaos, something inside her snapped. She didn't feel fear. She didn't feel pain. She only felt him, and the desperate need to protect him at any cost. When the emergency team arrived, they found her still standing over him, body tense, eyes glowing faintly, chest heaving like an engine. Lyra? Reed whispered beneath her. She blinked and stepped back slowly. I couldn't let you get hurt. He sat up, watching her carefully. You're not a soldier, Lyra, he said softly. She shook her head. Maybe not, but I think this serum didn't just wake up instincts. It woke up something I didn't know I had. Reed looked at her. eyes serious. And what's that? She stared at him for a long moment. Attachment. Asterisk the incident in the dark. For the next 2 days, the station ran on backup power. Lights flickered. Doors lagged. Only one section had full power engineering. Lyra stayed away from Reed as much as possible. Not because she didn't want to be near him, but because she wanted it too much. Every time he passed, her breath caught. Her heartbeat sped up. Her skin warmed. The serum's grip had lessened slightly, but the bond, it was still there. She knew now it wasn't just a drug. It had awakened something she didn't want to admit, a deep instinct. Not just attraction, not just focus. Something more primal. It scared her. On the third night, the station dimmed completely. Emergency lighting kicked in red strips along the walls. Barely enough to see. Lyra was alone in the control room, trying to reset the sensor grid. When she heard the door hiss open behind her, she didn't have to turn. She already knew it was him. Reed's voice came softly through the dark. Lyra, you shouldn't be alone right now. The system might cycle again. She stayed focused on the screen, but her fingers trembled on the control pad. I'm fine. She lied. You're not, he said gently. He stepped closer. Lyra turned slowly. The red lights made his face look sharper. His presence filled the room, thick as smoke. Her pulse pounded in her ears. I can't stop it, she whispered. I know, Reed said. Neither can I. Silence. The kind of silence that isn't. Empty but full of things unsaid. Reed took another step forward, close enough to see her face clearly. Her eyes shimmered faintly in the red glow, like something alive beneath calm water. I read the full file on the serum, he said. What you're feeling, it's not just biology. It's direction. The enhancer only pushes what's already inside you to the surface. Lyra's voice was fragile. So I already felt this? He nodded. So did I. Her breath caught. You did? She asked. Reed gave a small, real smile. I noticed you from the first week. Your focus, your calm. The way you looked at problems no one else could fix. He stepped closer again. I didn't expect to feel this either, but I do. Suddenly, the lights went out completely. Pitch black. The control panel beeped in warning and shut down. Lyra's breath hitched. She reached out instinctively, and her hand found his arm. Warm, solid, familiar. The darkness made everything sharper, like her senses expanded to fill the void. Reed didn't move away. Instead, he placed his hand over hers. Her skin burned under. His touch not painful, just too much. Then, suddenly, a deep rumble shook the floor. The gravity coils had misfired. The entire room tilted, sending tools and gear crashing. Lyra fell into him. Reed caught her, both tumbling behind the console. They landed in a heap, her body on top of his, their faces inches apart. Her breath was hot against his cheek. She stared into his eyes, and for a moment, there was no serum. No fear, no station. Only silence. Only him. Only her. Then the gravity stabilized. The lights blinked weakly back on. Red again, but this time flickering softer. She rolled off quickly, face flushed. Reed sat up, brushing dust off his arm. Neither spoke. The air between them was heavy. Finally he said, This isn't just instinct anymore, is it? Lyra looked at him, her voice barely above a whisper. No, it's something deeper. He nodded. But still dangerous, she agreed. Especially if I lose control. Reed looked at her firmly. Then I'll help you stay in control. Her eyes widened. You would do that? He smiled gently. I trust you, more than anyone else here. If something inside you woke up, maybe it was meant to. That night, Lyra couldn't sleep. Not because of heat or noise, but because of something new. Comfort. She wasn't running from what she felt anymore. And Reed wasn't either, but she knew this bond would be tested. The serum might fade, but the connection? That was real now, and real things can break or become stronger. Asterisk. The truth between them, the next morning, the station was calm again. Power had returned. Lights were steady. Systems ran normally, but inside Lyra, nothing was normal. She stood at the viewport, staring into the endless black of space. Her thoughts were loud, faster than usual. Not just about the serum, but about what was happening between her and Reed. She hadn't meant for any of this to happen. It started with a mistake, a single wrong injection. But now, she wasn't sure it was a mistake at all. It felt like something deeper had been. Revealed. Not created. Revealed. Reed found her standing there. He didn't say anything at first, just stood beside her, looking out too. After a moment, she spoke. I've read the serum file 5 times now. He raised an eyebrow, and she sighed. It's clear about one thing. It doesn't force emotions. It only unlocks what's already there and accelerates it. Reed nodded. She looked at him, her silver eyes softer than ever. So what's real and what's not? He met her gaze. Let's find out. They walked to the medbay together, quiet, side by side, like two people walking toward truth instead of away from it. Inside, Lyra pulled up the full research file on the serum. She turned the screen so they could both see. Apex 7. Not suitable for non-human biology. Effects include heightened physical strength, deep sensory link to nearby individuals, emotional focus imprinting, possible protective or bonding reaction toward target individuals. Note, target is usually first trusted teammate. After injection. She turned to Reed. You were the first person I saw after I injected it. He nodded. That explains the start, he said. But not why it still grows, or why I feel it too. She tilted her head. You do? Reed gave a small smile. Lyra, even without the serum, I noticed things. The way you hold tools like you're part of the machine. The way you listen without judgment. The way you protect the crew even when no one sees it. He paused. The serum didn't put those feelings in me. It just removed the walls. Her heart skipped. The tension in her shoulders dropped for the first time in days. Then the station alarm chimed. Not an emergency, but a signal, unauthorized. Vessel detected. Entering proximity range. Reed turned to the screen. It's not one of ours. Lyra narrowed her eyes. The ship was small, but its engines were hot. Weapons armed. A raider. Looks like someone thinks this place is still unguarded. Reed muttered. He turned to her. We need everyone on deck. Lyra nodded, but something stirred in her chest, an old instinct. Now sharpened. As the crew gathered, she noticed her focus was even stronger. Her breathing even, her steps precise. She wasn't afraid. Not anymore. When the raider ship sent out its first threat message, most of the junior staff froze. But Lyra stepped forward calmly. We reinforce the shields, reroute power, and prepare. A bluff, she said. Reed looked at her in surprise, but didn't argue. She moved through the control room like a commander, giving clear, simple orders. The others followed her lead. Even the humans. She stood in front of the holoscreen and spoke to the raider captain directly. This station has full weapons and trained defenders, she said in a firm voice. Approach, and you'll regret it. The raider paused, calculated, then retreated. No shots fired. No damage done. Just her voice. Just her presence. Later, when the crisis was over, Reed found her alone again. This time, she wasn't hiding. He sat beside her. You were incredible. She smiled faintly. It wasn't me. It was the serum. Reed shook his head. No, the serum didn't make you clever, or brave, or calm under pressure. That's all you. She turned toward him. And what about the feelings? He paused, then gently took her hand. They were already there. Lyra didn't pull away. Instead, she whispered, "Then maybe I didn't take the wrong vial after all." Asterisk what was awakened. The station returned to silence. No alarms. No flickering lights. No incoming threats. But inside Lyra, everything was different. Now she stood in the observation deck, looking out at the stars, not as a technician, not as a helper, but as someone who had been changed. Not by accident, but by awakening. The serum had triggered something inside her, yes, but what stayed behind after the chemical faded? That was her Dot. It had been 4 days since the Raider scare. The serum's effects were starting to wear off. Could feel it, her senses were returning to normal. Her muscles weren't as fast. Her heartbeat no longer raced with every footstep Reed took nearby. And yet, her feelings for him hadn't gone away. They had simply calmed. No more fire. Something deeper remained. Warmth. Reed entered the observation deck, carrying 2 cups of nutrient tea. He handed her one and stood beside her. They didn't speak right away, just stood in quiet peace. After a long pause, Lyra said, "I don't feel the pull anymore." Reed turned his head. "And I still want to be near you," she said softly. He smiled. "Good, because I never wanted it to be just about the serum." She looked down at her tea, steam rising gently from the cup. "I didn't either, but I was afraid." What if the feelings were fake? Reed's voice was steady. They were never fake. The serum just took away your fear. Now that it's gone, the choice is yours. Lyra took a slow breath, and then 4. The first time, she smiled without tension. Later, in the docking bay, the human commander called for her. "Lyra, Command has reviewed your actions during the emergency," he said. "Your instincts, your quick decisions, you saved this station." She stood straight, unsure of what to say. The commander continued, "We'd like to offer you a permanent role. Not just as a tech, but as a specialist in frontline coordination. Field certified." Lyra blinked. "Me? But I'm not a soldier." "No," the commander replied, "but you think like one. And more importantly, you care like one." That night, Reed waited for her outside the briefing room. "So, Officer Lyra now?" She laughed, a sound soft and rare. "Only if you agree to keep calling me partner," she teased. He gave a playful shrug. "Only if you keep saving me when I nearly get myself killed." They stood close now. No fear. No tension. Just understanding. And maybe something more. As the station settled for the night, Lyra recorded a message in her private log. "What I thought was medicine turned out to be something else. But it didn't break me. It didn't change who I was. It woke me up. To danger. To instincts. And to love." She paused, then added one final line. "And for once I'm not afraid of any of it." In the final scene, as the stars stretched beyond the viewport, Lyra and Reed walked side by side through the ship's quiet hallway. No alarms. No words. Just a slow, calm silence. The kind that only happens when 2 souls finally stop running from the truth.